The island of Lošinj is located in the north of Croatia in the Adriatic Sea and part of the Cres Lošinj archipelago. The island's climate can be described as mild Mediterranean with an average annual temperature of 15.6 degrees Celsius. Temperatures below 0 degrees Celsius are uncommon on the island. A warm current from the Mediterranean heats up the island. Adapted to the climate, Mediterranean vegetations as macchia, which is an evergreen Mediterranean hard-leaved vegetation. Garrigues, an open Mediterranean shrub heath formation on shallow soils in a form of degraded macchia, or a Quercus ilex forest, or also called evergreen oak, is present on the island. Also, rocky pastures can be found. Southwest of the island Lošinj lies the small island of Susak. The base of the island is formed by limestone, which is covered by thick layers of sandy clays with wind-related origin. This base protects the sand from being swept away from the waves. Additionally, giant reed, Arundodonax, was planted to avoid erosion. Since both islands have been little studied biologically, an excursion was organized in February 2024 by the Croatian Botanical Society in collaboration with the Bryological-lichenological Working Group for Central Europe, or also called BLAM. Around 50 people from different countries participated on the excursion. Especially the sandy island of Susak has little data on moss and lichen flora. Vedran Čegota is a botanist and curator of the herbarium at the University of Zagreb. He explains how well the Croatian moss flora is studied and how the excursion on the islands of Croatia can contribute to this knowledge.
Croatian flora is well researched. We have many data, but most of them are quite old. At the moment we know about 800 species, but we expect to have at least 100 or maybe 200 more than we know at this moment. Croatia mainland is well researched, I would say, but the islands are not. So that's why we are also here on these islands to collect some recent data. On some islands we have only old data, but for example on this island, on the island of Susak, these are the first biological researches at all. So that's why we are here. Mediterranean is very specific in terms of climate because it's very, bipolar. During the winter it's quite cold and humid with a lot of rain, but during the summer it's very long-lasting summer drought. And in this condition only some big perennial small species could survive. And that's why many of them are annual and they stop their life at the beginning of the summer and they have very short life cycle during the winter. That's why we are here in winter. So if you want to study mosses in Mediterranean, you should be here in winter. During the summer you will see only few perennial species and that's all. The risks for Mediterranean bryophyte flora are mainly two big risks. First one is vegetation succession, because for moss flora, the majority of moss flora, you have to have open habitats. For example, some maquis or garrigues, which are quite open, grasslands and so on. But as many islands are being forgotten by people, many people left from the islands, and you don't have so much also cows or sheep or goats that are clearing the area. Many open areas are now being in succession, being overgrown by many non-grassland species like trees and shrubs and so on. So many of these habitats, which are very important for bryophytes, are now endangered in this way. The second risk are climate changes, because we are facing the problem with the less rain during the winter, and this summer non-rainy period is becoming larger, so we have very long summer drought. So this is not a good condition for bryophytes. During this excursion, we found a lot of very interesting Richia and other liverwort species. Liverworts are very much winter living species because they are procumbent species which are very much dependent on water, and that's why we can actually find only during the winter. So now we found a lot of Richia species, some other liverwort species, for example South Bioxymetria and other genera. And this is something that we really enjoyed during this excursion.
Martina Pöltl is specialized on the liverwort genus Rixia. She explains why this genus is good to find in the Mediterranean regions.
Hi, my name is Martina Pöltl and I'm making my PhD studies about the genus Rixia. Rixia is a small liverwort and they love and like to live in the Mediterranean regions, especially in pioneer habitats. So if there is some grassland and there is some kind of disturbance, you can really have a good population of this sweet little liverworts within shortest time. They often occur together with Phasambronia or also Rictiocarpus, which is a very nice liverwort too. And yeah, there is a very high diversity within Rixia in the Mediterranean regions. And we had a lot of Rixia species this day, I guess 7 or 8 species. And so it was really great and a big success for our project in Graz.
Bryology, the study about mosses, liverworts and hornworts, is usually underrepresented in the field of botany. How is interest in bryology aroused and why it is important to study these small plants?
During the summers I was always looking for vascular plants and after 1 or 2 years I started to get bored in the winters because there's nothing you can really see in Germany. And the good thing about mosses is that most species are observable throughout the whole year, and it's quite a good thing to keep yourself busy during winter. This excursion, my highlight were probably all the quite rare species, or species which are quite rare in Central Europe or Germany, which were growing on ruderable places. For example, on one day we just wanted to check the pressure of our tires at a gas station, and the next moment all 8 people of the bus were laying in some grassland right next to the road and were looking for Rictia and Spherocarpus species.
What fascinates me about mosses is the thing that when you look at them with bare eye, you see just a green patch. And then when you look closer on microscope, on with the loupe, you see the whole other world, you see the whole new dimension, the variety, the biodiversity that you weren't aware of by bare eye, and I find it fascinating. So how I started with mosses was actually not my choice. My brain decided to look the way where mosses were. So I weren't really interested in other plants, but just, okay, moss here, okay, patch here. I like their color and they attract me the most in the environment, so I always felt connected to them.
Excursions like this are not just a good way of collecting data together, but also an important international exchange between biologists, lichenologists and students.